Lord. I hope y'all. Wait a minute. Let me get TikTok in alignment. Oh, wait. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. Hold on, y'all. I don't know. Do that one because why not? I have to try to make sure y'all can hear me on this side of the street. Great morning. Great morning. Great morning. Great people. Welcome to the message. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're feeling good. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy Wednesday. We in this thing. If you are new to the Faith and Flow community, to the Kingdom Flow community, to the message, welcome. We are so happy and so grateful that you are here. And if you is an old tea but good tea, welcome back. And y'all know what to do. Ski booski, come in. Like the live, share the live, share the love. Drop something in the chat that you're grateful for. Let's get in the flow of abundance. Child, me and the Lord was just happy having a little conversations and stuff. Hold on, y'all. Let me put my keyboard up. I don't think I got to type nothing right now. Child, the Lord had just gave me something. I guess I'm going to share it with y'all because I know it's going to work for me. We are in the book of Leviticus 25. Man, I was so excited to get to this chapter, y'all. Because it's just, I don't know, it just represented something for me. Represent your city. It just represented something. And it was something the Lord and I discussed over the weekend anyway. But I was excited to get to Leviticus 25. So that's where we at today for Bible Clarity. Y'all, make sure you like the live, share the love. Sip your favorite adult beverage. We finna get into Leviticus 25. But before we do that, I got to ask a question. Yeah, it's a question in my spirituals, and this ain't for everybody. This gonna be very specificals for somebody, and I don't know who is it. Listen, so can I share something with y'all real quick? Story time. So listen, y'all know the school semester, the fall semester, then started, right? Started on Monday. I got 3 classes this semester, and I don't know what I was thinking for the classes that I chose, but I chose them. I did. I chose them, and I have a question. And I'm only one day in, but I have a question for these specific people right here. To my CPAs, certified public accountants. Um, I'm asking this with all the truthfulness in my spirituals. I really mean this. I really want to know. This is just me. What was and maybe this is for everybody. Okay, it could be for everybody. You could drop it in the chat if you feel so inclined to do so. But for my CPAs, I done had one day of accounting. One. And by the end of yesterday, because that was my one day, my whole head was hurting. I was tired. And I said to self, and I said out loud to the Lord, I say, Daddy, he say, what what made y'all choose that profession? Like, what happened? And I'm not even playing about it. Like, what was the experience that made you choose that? That made you choose accounting? Like, who said how? Lord, somebody explain it. How you chose it? Because I went to damn sleep dreaming about assets equals liabilities and stockholder equity, and I say, hold on, was it a dream? What and there's no judgment. What ask? Tell her to find out. Good morning, Jared. Good morning. Congratulations on the job interview. We come back to it. Somebody tell me what made them choose. What, Lord have mercy, in my spirituals, what made you choose it? Because after one day, I say, Lord, carry me. because I don't know how I'm gonna get through. Y'all remember over the summertime, because y'all know y'all may not be in the class, but y'all on this journey with me. Somebody gonna be with me. Last semester, it was marketing. Okay, I need that, right? I need that. I need that for, this. I need it for Touche Cosmetics. Okay, cool. I got to learn this. Don't want to do a marketing plan. Not my strength. Got it done. But hey, get somebody else to do it. Yesterday further let me know. I literally, Lord, I had the cuss word. It came back back. It was back to back, wasn't it? It was back to back. Get somebody else to MF and do it. Get somebody else, Lord. It ain't Touche strength. It's not. And I said to the Lord, I say, Daddy, send me. I say, go ahead and line my CPA up. So you better start asking the Lord for what you want right now. I say, Daddy, go send me a CPA, because I ain't gonna be able to do it. No, it's not for me. I just want somebody to tell me what made them choose it. Anyway, I'm back. Like, I really want to know, like, what made you decide? Is it math? Was it math? Is it money? Somebody just anyway. Jared, find out for me. Y'all give it. Wait a minute. Hold on, Jared. Now, wait a minute. Y'all know we be living life over here in real time, right? Now, I got to back up on the comments. We've been to get into Leviticus 25 in a second. It's important. Jared says, great morning, everyone. Let me put it on the screen, see if I can show it on the screen for a second. Great morning, everyone. I'm grateful for a job interview. Well, congratulations, honey. One of y'all drop a congratulations in the chat for Jared. But hold on now. I be trying to keep up, and I might be. Last we had heard, Jared, you was already working 74 days. What had happened? What, you ain't got to tell us if you don't want to, but I know this ain't a job on top of the job on top of the job. Now we finna talk about rest again anyway. You can share it if you want to, but congratulations, honey. One of you, it better not be number 3, because okay, I'm back. Good morning, Chris Curls. Good morning, Chris Curls, checking in on the YouTube side of the street. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning. I'm coming to y'all over TikTok. Here I come. I'm finna come say hi to y'all. Good morning, Kay. Good morning, honey Wunny. This morning, Tink. Kelly says, I'm so grateful for God, for the peace and love and the guidance, indeed, and amen. Sandy, good morning, honey Wunny, checking in on the YouTube side of the street as well. Great morning, Touche in the community. Today, I am grateful for the things the Lord blocked from my life. Man, you better say it. The block is a blessing, period. The block is a blessing. Sometimes we think we be wanting stuff till you get it and then you don't want it. Thank God for block. I'm talking about block game on what? Period. Meant it. Next, I will find. Okay, let me know, child. Let me know what your sister say. Through faith and flow, I learned the classroom was not in my spirituals. What? Come on, Faith and Flow. Shout out to y'all. I'm coming. I promise. I'm gonna send y'all. I got another email I got to send out for day 3. This why we be spacing stuff out, because just like for Jared says, for those of you, we're in Faith and Flow for finances. This is our 21-day challenge that we're doing, right? And this is in regards to our stewardship, our money, our finances, our resources. And so we're in the process of doing this. So Jared, who is a part of Faith and Flow for finances, realized that the classroom is not of his spirituals, and guess what, it's okay to pivot. It's okay. The whole point of Faith and Flow for finances is figuring out where you are and then where you're trying to go. And so in speaking to that, crazy thing about it is, just this morning I was talking to the Lord about kingdom flow, right? And certain kingdom rules. Man, I wasn't even intending on sharing this with y'all just yet. But but I also, just like Jared figured it out, that the classroom ain't in his spirituals. I realized that I'm not a writer, y'all. Like, that's not something sitting down and trying to, man, look. Not that I can't do it, because if you got to do it, you do it. But when you know something just ain't in your spirituals, you know when it's time to let something go. And part of what we're going to be talking about today in Leviticus 25 is there something that the Lord is saying, hey, you may think that this is the best path, but this ain't the path, or I have a better way, right? So I hope that makes sense. Congratulations on your job interview. Blessings, faith, and favor over your new beginning. You know me. If it's for you, then the Lord gonna give it to you. Okay, it's already done. Drop it in the chat. It is done. So y'all congratulate Jared on his new beginning, and also on understanding what is and what ain't for you, because everything ain't for you. And when you start recognizing, man, for real, when you start recognizing that stuff ain't for you, because some of us can spend many seasons doing stuff. You ever stayed in something so much longer than you were supposed to because I don't know, maybe you trying to prove to yourself or prove to somebody else that you can thug it out, that you can make it. Man, no, I'm not in that season anymore. Once I realize something ain't for me, if I experiment with it, and maybe I wrote that on yesterday, but that don't mean I'm gonna hold on to it forever. Mm-mm. I have gotten very much better, very much better, very much better at letting go of stuff before it drains me. Okay, before it drains you, we're going to talk about rest as well. This is the importance of the Sabbath. And so this is tying into our Leviticus 25 study as well. All to do it. Let's get to it. Good morning, Kiki. Good morning. I think I got everybody. Good morning, TikTok side of the street. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Y'all like the live, share the love, tap the screen, all the things. Let's get into good morning, Car. Good morning. Y'all, we finna get into Leviticus 25. Now, I started studying this the other day. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning. I kind of started studying this the other day on my Sabbath, but it was in regards to the Sabbath day. But this is speaking in terms of years. Man, it ain't nothing like the Lord letting you know ahead of time that, oh, girl, wait a minute. Hold on. You ain't have to check me like that. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Hey, happy birthday to you. Because today is my mama birthday. Today is my mama birthday. She is, of course, in the spirituals, but baby, she done showed up every day. Oh, she on it. She's like, huh? I literally told her this morning. I say, and because I might have to start it next year, because of finances. But I told my mama this year that next year, I'm gonna start doing something on her birthday every year. Something that let me just tell y'all, man, my mama loved the casino. I don't gamble, right? And so I used to, but I don't gamble. But my mama, she would I'm talking about tearing the boat up. We call it the boat. If you from the South, you understand. So I'm talking about tearing the boat up. And so I told my mama this morning, because again, I don't gamble. I used to gamble, but I haven't in years. And I told my mama, I said, girl, every year I'm gonna go take this hot $100 and I'm gonna go to the casino and go to the casino for her. Cause that was her thing, y'all. She was a housewife. She didn't work. She didn't really do. She was a housewife, and so she loved the casino. So I told my mama that I was gonna start going to the casino for her. I was like, I can't do it this. I was like, I can't do it this year. I can't do it this year, but I'm gonna do that for my mama because that was something that she enjoyed doing. So today is my mama birthday. Happy birthday to my mama. Still Leo season. Big purr. Love a Leo today. Happy birthday to all my Leos. We finna hit. I know Virgo. Here y'all come. Wait a minute now. Don't wait a minute. Don't act like Leo season wasn't lit. It was. So yes, y'all. Today is my mama birthday. My son made it successfully to his destination as well. OM Jesus. So he's on to his next part of his journey. So I don't know when I'll be able to talk to him again. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if that phone rang and it's him, I got the answer. We went through that yesterday. So y'all already know what it is. If he called, I got to answer the phone because I don't know how often I'll be able to talk to him because as I told y'all, he has joined the Air Force. And so he is beginning his journey as well. So yeah, y'all. Now let's get into Leviticus 25. Y'all like the share the love, tap the screen, share the Lord, all the thing. I don't know that, man. That's so much to say. Y'all help me get the kingdom to the people. Y'all like the live, share the love, share the Lord. Okay. And here we go. Kelly says I'm a Libra. Child, he a Libra too. His birthday is in October 5th. Little honey one. And that's why probably why he the most balanced in the family. My son literally, he's so mild mannered. He don't be him now, but he one of them. He be like, don't let don't let it fool you now. He got some fire in him, but he's so cool. He just be chilling for real. Like my son is so mild mannered, and he's like I told him, I say, don't get up there laughing when them folks get in your face or something happen, because he that one where he gonna start laughing. And I was like, son, just go on work on fixing your face now. OMG. Come on, Atmore, Alabama, child. You up the street from me. Hey, neighbor. No, that ain't it, is it? I can't. Why was some? It's a name or something, child. Look, Atmo. I used to tell that's a girl. That was your place, wasn't it? I'm talking about that was her exit, child. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about going way up the road up to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. But we did used to go up there to Wind Creek. OMG. If you know, you know. Child exit what 47, 52, somewhere over there. OM Jesus. I forgot about that. You reckon I still got money on my card and I ain't even got a card no more? Child, let me find out. I'm up the street, child. Okay, I'm back. Let's get into Leviticus 25. I'm gonna do that for my mama, cause that's my mama. Just saying. Look, come on, Gaston. Look, Alabama checking in, roll tide. Huh? I say roll tide. Okay. Alabama checking in on today. We in this thing deep. If you don't know, you don't know. You don't know. We deep in this thing. Listen to this day. Okay. All of us in different parts too. Or to do it, let's get to it. Y'all, I'm so excited about Leviticus 25. Why? Because it talks about restoration, new beginnings. That's what I was supposed to call this. Lost and found. Lost and found. I don't know how far you been to Wind Creek, child. Listen, I used to tell Wind Creek up. Y'all don't know. Did I ever tell this story? That was like my escape. Woo, this was many, many moons ago. Y'all, because I didn't have no, I was a nurse then, of course, but baby, I used to drop them cheering off in the morning and go straight to the casino. And I beat and spent the whole time at the casino. And then when it was time to pick them back up, then I come on back home. Man, listen at me. Look, I don't know, child. I don't know if he knew or not. Child, I was married then, y'all. I'm talking about I used to drop them cheering off and hit the road. And then by the time it was time to pick them back up, sometimes I'd be winning. And I'd be like, dang, I don't want to leave yet, but I'd have to leave because I'd have to go pick my children up from school. Child, a mess. Tell you, I told y'all yesterday I was outside. Now I wasn't doing. I said that. I said I was gonna have to give a little correction. Now I wasn't out there like doing some strange things for a little change. I would never no strumpet like that. Okay, but I laughed when I posted that video. I say, not from strumpet to spirit. Won't he do it? Because I was doing stuff that I didn't have no business doing, child. I was wilding out. And that was one of them. That's why I don't gamble. Because I know me. And y'all, I don't even know why we're going here. So let me say, if you have a problem with this, then get the help that you need. But baby, listen, let me just told you. I can remember the first time I went to the casino, I was 21 years old. And that's what I did for my 21st birthday. We went to Biloxi, and then and I went, and I think I had like $100 to spend. Do y'all know that at one point, I am not making this up, at one point I wouldn't even go to the casino if I didn't have at least $500. Truestory.com. And people be like, what? Oh, well, I'm not going if I ain't got at least $500 and spent it. So the casino don't owe me nothing. Not Nathaniel. Not Nathaniel. Okay. The not nothing, baby. But just saying, right? Let's get into Leviticus 25, baby. Look, thank God for change. Thank God for growth. Israel is not at Mount, it's still at Mount Sinai. And so we know that the Bible is not completely chronological, right? You can buy Bibles that go in chronological order. So part of these instructions that we receiving are things that Moses received up on the mountain when the Israelites were still waiting for him down there, when he was also getting the 10 Commandments. So don't think that he was like, he wasn't at Mount Sinai. They were still camped out there, right? Good morning, Monica. Good morning. And so let's pick up in Leviticus 25, lost and found. Okay. It was never yours to lose. It was never yours to lose. So there's a key rhythm in Leviticus 25, y'all. When in the promised land, because we know that's where we're going, there's a rhythm. It's Sabbath rest, Jubilee, land redemption, care for the poor, and freedom from permanent servitude. So for some of us, we have an understanding. At least when I was reading this, I say, child, that means we ain't gonna be working for somebody what forever. If the Lord has blessed you with a business idea, be encouraged that it means that you're not going to be working for somebody forever. I hope that makes sense to somebody. And then there may be some of you that maybe you got some employees and they not gonna work with you forever, right? Or work for you. They may increase or go their own way, do something new. But this is like the Lord, and y'all, it's so crazy because one of the classes, which today is my economics class, that's the way I'm setting my schedule up. I have microeconomics. Who decided? I don't know. But anyway, I hadn't even started my microeconomics class. I'm doing, that's my schedule for today. But it's funny that I laughed when I was reading this and I say, man, Lord, I feel like the Bible is starting to teach me economics. Does that make sense? Depending on your season of life, wherever you are, or whatever the Lord has called you to do, I promise you gonna start seeing your life walking out the word and you ain't even know it. And so as I'm reading about this, I was just like, well, Lord, I ain't even started the class yet. I say, but you telling us how the economy is going to function. Hope that makes sense to somebody. Good morning, beauty. Good morning. God is designing a society in which wealth, debt, poverty, labor, property, and power do not get to erase covenant identity. Hold on, y'all. I feel like I'm yelling. Feel like I'm leaning. Um, that's why. Let me move this over so I can see. There we go. The next, the land needs rest too. So the Lord instructs the Israelites is that they're going to plant, prune, and harvest for 6 years, and then they're going to rest for one. Israel isn't told to rest because the land stopped producing. They're told to rest while production is still possible. And so this is something we spoke on yesterday as well. So for some of you, it's like the Lord is in right now before before he works, thank y'all, intentional rest into your year, he's going to work intentional rest into your week, right? I explained to y'all on the other day that I thought I was going to work one schedule, but there would have been no time for me to rest, which means you be going strong 7 days a week. And who's finna do that? Our bodies are not designed for that. You need that time to rest, relax, and recharge. And so the Lord, so that's why I was studying part of this over the weekend, because it's like, no, you need that time to mentally remove yourself from being attached to somebody, to a time clock, to an alarm. Oh, okay, I got to go serve here, give here, help here, do here. Okay, now I got to shift here. You need that time worked into your schedule where you are not being responsible to anyone but God. Does that make sense? I cannot stress the importante-ness of making sure that you get rest. The Lord continues to tell us over and over and over, there is a reason why he says you need to Sabbath. Okay. We tend to stop when we are exhausted. God wants us to stop before exhaustion becomes the reason. Maybe it's just me. The Lord ever had to sit you down somewhere because you think you superwoman or superman, and then all of a sudden you finally it'll happen one or two ways. You can either schedule it and go ahead and be obedient, or the Lord will set you down. And when the Lord sets you down, a lot of times it don't feel good. This is a true story.com. You be so exhausted because you've been on go for 50 days that by the time you lay down and get some rest, before you know it, you be done slept 12, 14 hours. That would feel so abnormal to me right now because I could, first of all, I don't think I only need about 7, 8 hours of sleep. And that's pushing it, because even on the weekends I tend to be up early because I'm used to being up at 3 a.m. But there have been times where I have exhausted myself. So by the time I finally get to sit down and rest, baby, I ain't good for nothing. I ain't got no energy. I can't go nowhere. And what's crazy is a lot of times on your rest days, you still be having stuff to do. You got to run errands, you might have to wash clothes, you got all these things to do, and you be so exhausted that you can't get nothing done. Now the next day come, you got to start back on the schedule. You ain't then did the things you needed to do, so now you be sitting there like, man, I ain't get nothing done. Why? Because you worked yourself to exhaustion, and then you still had other responsibilities. It's the same. So this is where the Lord is saying like, hey, I'm trying to establish your schedule so rest is included. That's why he called this today as well. Rest and restoration are included. Rest is a part of obedience. I hope that makes sense to somebody. Baby, I done been there. I told y'all this. I done been that person working 50, 100 days in a row. And by the time I'm off, if you have one day off and then you just like, huh, I ain't get nothing done because your body cannot do it. Literally, you ain't got the juice. Okay, you ain't got the juice. So before God regulates your years, he's going to regulate your week, because you need the rest. You need the rest to reset yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Baby, you ain't got to believe me if you don't want to, but mess around and let the Lord set you down. It ain't the same. And I don't wish this or want this to happen to anyone, but sometimes your body will be telling you, I'm tired, I'm tired. Stop, stop, stop. Don't do that. I'm tired. And then all of a sudden you end up with an injury, or you end up with a cold or some kind of sickness or something that makes you sit down. I'm trying to told you now, when you don't intentionally work rest into your week, you end up with something like that. All of a sudden, I done seen people, now you got to go to the hospital. You sat down some kind of way, and it all along your body had been telling you like, hey, I ain't feeling my best. I need to replenish. Okay. The Sabbath year is also a return to trust, or an emphasis on it, because they would have to trust God for provision during the Sabbath rest. So the way that this went, like the Lord instructed them, for 6 years, they prune, they harvest, they plant. That seventh year, they rest. So, of course, the immediate question is, can I trust God enough to stop producing when he tells me to stop? Because sometimes the Lord, as evidenced by, yes, for some of us, the Lord has taken us through a season and he says, stop working. And other people don't understand why the Lord would tell you to stop working, and you like, what, Lord? Like, what you mean stop? Like, I just got started, or wait a minute, Lord, I told y'all this. You just blessed me with something. Imagine the Lord just bless you with an apartment or a house or a new car, and then he give you the instruction and say, now stop working. Wait a minute, Lord. It activates a fear, right? Because you like, how I'm a pay for what you just let. Wait a minute, Lord. But it takes us back to remembrance of, remember when God provided for you before you had all of those things. Remember how he sustained you in the wilderness, before the prosperity, before the harvest, before the houses, before all the things. Didn't he sustain us then? So if he can sustain us then he'll continue to sustain us. So if he tells you to stop, it may look crazy to other people, but your obedience is going to be like, okay. But it also brings us back to remembering that God is our source. I hope that makes sense. Lisa just said, yes, he will. I had a foot injury this past week. Hmm. And I'm not saying that I came, who am I? If that's something that you feel like resonated for you. Sometimes the Lord will tell you, child, I already knew on yesterday the way my knee was feeling. I say, oh, thank God that Wednesday is my exercise rest day. I don't exercise. I don't walk on Wednesdays. Why? I do because I know I done went hard in the paint the 2 previous days. I know Thursday and Friday will now are not going to be my exercise days, because moving forward, they may end up being work days for me. But I'm telling you, you better start, you better set, all right. All right. But again, remembering rest is remember, rest isn't the absence of provision. It's a reminder of who your source is. Drop it in the chat. God is my source, right? And sometimes the Lord has to make us stop in order to remind us of that, because again, he'll give you a job and now you depending on the job more than you depending on him. This is something I struggled with in the past, not so much now, because now I understand that my, like, yes, being able to have income, steady income, stable income from, or a more stable, reliable paycheck, it's a blessing. But I tell you, the biggest lesson that I learned, and I pray that people would even see that through this experience as I share it with y'all, where there was more times where for the last 4 years, I was without a job more than I was with one. Since 2022, was it 2022 when I stopped working. That's when the Lord instructed, well, I stopped working. And then for up until last year, I wasn't working, y'all. I worked for like a month here and there. 1 year a month, the next year a month, and that was it until last year, where then the Lord brought me back. I worked for just about a year, and then he said, okay, stop. Why? To remind me that even because my job was never the source. I hope that makes sense to somebody. And so if the Lord tell you to stop, let the Lord tell you to stop now, not somebody else telling you, yeah, quit. Because I'm not finna tell you to quit. I'm gonna tell you to let God tell you. Because what worked for me may not be your assignment, right? That may not be what God wants you to do. So this is why you have to know when God is telling you to move and when he's not. But we remember that God is our source. So the question that comes next, which God expected, is what are we supposed to eat? And then he makes a promise. Man, ain't nothing like a promise from the Lord. The 6 years harvest will produce enough to sustain them through the period when the land isn't being cultivated. Imagine the Lord giving you a year where he say, nope, you're not gonna plant, you're not gonna harvest, you're not gonna prune, you gonna rest. Huh? And but how I'm gonna eat, Lord? Wait a minute. Where the provision? He said, I'm the provision. What? What to do? In the I say, Lord, you for in me. Lord, you for real? A year off? No, nothing. Just and then he say, he finna, because of course this instruction is going to bring uncertainty, right? Good morning, Marianne. Good morning. This instruction is going to bring uncertainty, because the first thing you're going to be like, wait a minute, Lord, how I'm gonna pay these bills? Because why? You have been depending on your job to do it, right? How I'm gonna pay these bills? How I'm a what? But God is your provision. So God gives them a reason to trust him even with uncertainty. And that's faith, right? That's what faith is. Faith requires us to trust God even when it don't make sense. And other people ain't gonna understand your level of faith. But most of us here have made some decision that required supernatural faith. I'm talking about super faith. Y'all know faith is my superpower. Just if starting a business, it requires faith. Moving. Many people, somebody said yesterday they moved or they've been in a place and they don't know anybody. Baby, listen, that kind of faith, everybody ain't got it, because people want to know. It's like, no, I have to know. But faith requires you to do some stuff even when you ain't got no full understanding. Telling you. So next, Jubilee is restoration, not just celebration. The trumpet sounds, liberty is proclaimed, people return to their property, people return to their clans, and the land rest. It functions as a reset mechanism within Israel's covenant economy. It never said that the land stopped producing. right? So the land doesn't stop producing. What the Lord has blessed you to do is not going to stop producing. But again, this is going to be demonstrated in the fact that will you keep doing it even when even when you're uncertain about it, if it's something God has instructed you to do, right? Will you keep showing up and doing it? Because who's to say that that next year won't be when the harvest comes in? Some of us, maybe you've been doing something already for 6 years, and now the Lord is getting ready, man. And now the Lord is getting ready to give you a Jubilee year, a Jubilee rest, where something is gonna, man, that's what I said, like, oh, something for some of you, thank y'all, something for some of you that you've already been doing is getting ready to, it's almost like you're getting ready to experience this Jubilee year. Maybe you've been sowing for 6 years and you're coming up on, man, come on, the festival of the trumpet. Maybe you're coming up on your 7th year. So you're actually, and maybe you didn't even realize it or hadn't put it together, but it's like the Lord the way he's showing me this is like you're getting ready to experience a Jubilee year, and it may not look the way that you thought it was going to look. It may be like restoration with an upgrade, or rest where you're going to have to, man, where you're going to have to, like, you're going to have rest. Maybe for some, it's like not working for a year, but you've been working for the last 6. And maybe you're not completely set up for how that rest or taking that year off. It's like the Lord, you losing a job, right? And I pray, I don't want anybody that to happen to anybody, but it happens where you lose a job. But in that year, instead of being worried about how you gonna make it, you trust God more in that year, because I'm a believer that the Lord sends us through times where he has to reset us to remember the source. Okay, to remember the source. A difficult season isn't supposed to permanently destroy what belonged to the family. Financial hardship is not your permanent identity. Drop this in the chat. Poverty is not my portion. It's not your portion at all. And I think this is part of why the Lord gave me something this morning. I'm gonna share it with y'all, insofar as starting to live in your kingdom identity versus your struggle season identity. Okay, poverty is not my portion. Financial hardship, it's temporary. You may be going through that season, but it's not meant to last forever. God builds restoration into the system. Loss, debt, displacement are temporary. What you're seeing right now, maybe you going through a struggle season, temporary. I promise you, it don't. Look, the bad doesn't always last, and sometimes when you going through the hardest and worst times of your life, you feel like that season is never going to end. But I'm telling you right now, it's temporary. Okay. The land is God's. Israel is borrowing it, cultivates it, benefits from it, passes it down. And when I was in Bible study this morning, y'all, understanding that you're God's land as well. Okay. We oftentimes we think about this territory, or the place that the Lord is sending us into, or it's like the tangible things. But something that the Lord was in, he said it to me a couple of times this in Bible study. You are the land, so you belong to God too, right? But God owns it, not what. So the next part of this is God owns everything. Not to ask what do I own, but what has God entrusted me? It's a different mindset, a different posture. When you stop looking at everything as mine, mine, mine. Now, me and the Lord talked about this as well. How do I say this? If you say this is mine, right? Then it is. One of the things that, like, the Lord has had to correct me on is like, you don't have to constantly be like, oh no, this ain't mine, it's the Lord's. Does that make sense? It's like, you have the understanding of knowing that this everything, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, right? So you don't have to constantly just, I hope this, I can make this make sense. If you understand and but you say something is mine, like I own my business. That doesn't mean that I don't know that it belongs to God. So it's not it's almost, I don't know, I don't want, they keep saying a religious spirit. It's almost like religiosity, where you have to constantly be like, this ain't mine, this is God's. Like, we know. And I don't want that to sound bad, but the Lord has had to check me on that. Like, it's almost like being, I don't know if the word is, I don't know what's the word. It's just like, just have the understanding of who it belongs to. Okay. But you don't have to constantly be like, oh, this ain't even my business anyway. This is the Lord's. Oh, this ain't my drink anyway. This is the Lord's. Like, we know. I hope that makes sense to somebody. I laughed about it and I was like, my bad, Lord, because I have caught myself doing that as well. But it's just like the money, we know the money ain't yours for real. It's the Lord's. You borrowing it. Why? We already talked about it, right? You have access to God's checkbook, his spiritual abundance bank, right? So we know the money's not yours, the business ain't yours, the gifts aren't yours, the platform's not yours, the opportunities, the resources, all of it ultimately belongs to God. I hope that makes sense. But you don't have to constantly being like, oh, that's God's money, that's God's money, that's God's opportunity, that's God's platform. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Message. Um, Lord, so question, Lord, what do you want done with what you've placed in my hands? That's the way that I tend to ask the Lord that question. We manage what ultimately belongs to the King. Next, don't profit from somebody else's desperation. This is a kingdom economy, right? Good morning, Sonia. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for the follow, dearest one. Don't profit from somebody else's desperation. Help somebody. Okay. Help to sustain them. The Lord gave me a new place to bless on yesterday. Right. Again, so which part? Like, if you don't know, okay, how do I explain that? If you I use the mentality, and I don't, this works for me. Okay. I can't say this will work for you, but it works for me. I have created a system for myself where I don't bless up, I bless down, right? What do I mean? I'm personally not attached to any church, okay? But I'm going to say this for the people in the back. If you have a church that you frequent, a pastor or bishop that you listen to all the time, you should bless your church, because this ain't easy work. And a lot of times, your blessings and your tithes, if you will, are what are sustaining that church. Because just like everybody else, people don't want to say that church is a business. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you want to go sit in that church every Wednesday and Sunday, you want to have some lights on, what you want the pastor to just pay for everything out of his pocket? Like, let's keep it a buckles. If you own a business, you understand this. Even though church, they say church is not a business. Yeah, it is. It's not business as in the church, but you still have to operate a church. Simple, right? So you should be a cheerful giver to your blessing your pastor, and understand this: every pastor ain't. I'm you right. Let me not even say that. Give if you go and sit in this church every Sunday. You shouldn't have your nose turned up to do that. Okay. With that being said, everybody don't go to church. I'm one of them, right? I don't go to church. So if you don't know who to bless, look at your own life. Because the Lord, this is again kingdom wealth, right? You don't know who to bless. What experience? Oh, I just got to chill. What experiences have you gone through that make you say, "Man, because you know the experience yourself. You have been through it. You've lived it. You know how hard it is. You got some understanding. That's who you bless. Sometimes it could be your children, because maybe you weren't the child whose parents, good morning Melvina, good morning, maybe you weren't the child that got an allowance every week or every 2 weeks. So you didn't really have money, babe. I started working when I was 13 years old, honey. I ain't had no allowance. I was bagging groceries at the commissary, okay, in California, in Alameda. So maybe you maybe you're the person that you gonna bless your children. Or maybe you like me and you spent some years being homeless and living on the streets. And so you understand that kind of life. So maybe you give to people who homeless, or give to an organization that helps the homeless. Or maybe you've suffered from DV, right? And you understand that there are places that help women get out of those situations. Well, guess what? You can bless there. There's always somewhere to give. Maybe you ain't got no money, but you got clothes that you don't even wear anymore. And it's organizations that give, that do clothing drives. Maybe your family struggled with school supplies. So maybe you buy some school supplies for the little children. It's to hey, you would it's always someone to give, some way to give, somewhere to give. So if you don't go to church, again, I have a tendency to bless down and not up. Why? Because I understand homelessness. So let me give. I tend to give to places they're going to help the homeless. Why? Because I know how hard it was in that struggle. Yesterday, I ended up getting a email or something because of my son, and it was like something where you can basically help soldiers. And so I be on a tithing schedule. I rotated. Every person don't get the same every person doesn't get blessed every time, but it keeps me to be able. I hope, man, it keeps me. It makes me able to be a blessing in different places. Does that make sense? So 1 month, 1 week, or every for me is whenever I get resources. If somebody asks me and I have to do, okay, boom, there's my there. I done did what I can do. But then now that my income, because some of you, again, this is speaking to your income changing. So you want the Lord to start blessing you with additional wealth. Start telling the Lord where you're gonna be a blessing. I'm telling you, it works. The Lord getting ready to give you some extra money. Go and start telling the Lord, like I told the Lord that yesterday. I say, yep, Lord, let me add that to the tithing schedule. Because why? Because now my son is there. And even though he making his own money, I know I now have a different place to be able to give. And it's not just going to bless my son, it's going to bless where he's at and other people with him. Does that make sense to somebody? Be ready. Be ready when the Lord says, "Hey, I'm finna make you a millionaire. What you gonna do with it?" Oh, let me get this first 10% out the way. What? I'm talking right now. Y'all think I'm playing? Right now, I could tell you 10 places that I would give 100,000 easy, easy. Ain't even know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and can probably find some more. But I know off the top 10 places, 10 people that's gonna get blessed as soon as the Lord bless me. You need to be on that type of time, that type of giving energy as well. Already have it established what you gonna do with the money. That's part of how you experience this jubilee. When the Lord know he finna bless you, he's like, okay, I'm gonna see what you gonna do with it. Are you going to do what you said you're going to do with the money? That's why when he have you in your stewarding seasons and your robbing Peter to pay Paul seasons, that's why he'll see message. Are you willing to give even when you don't have it to do? You ain't got to believe me if you don't want to, but I'm telling you right now, you start seeing increase, and then all of a sudden you have some real increase. But the Lord was testing to see what you when it was just $10, when it was $100, when it was $1,000, when it was $10,000. He gonna see, are you gonna do what you said? Are you still going to? Because remember when you needed a blessing. Remember yesterday we talked about at one point your prayer answered was just a prayer. You didn't have it, right? So at one point you were begging for that blessing. You were praying for it. We don't have to beg, but we know we be begging when we need the Lord to do something, right? So at one point it was your prayer was not answered, so it was just a prayer. But remember how generous you were when you were in the wilderness, when the Lord was teaching you about being generous, and he would require you to give when you weren't in a place to give. Imagine actually being in a place to give and then not continuing to have that same ethic and principle. I hope that makes sense to somebody. Good morning, Cherie. Next, we talked about that. Don't profit from somebody else's desperation. Kingdom economics isn't merely how much wealth can I accumulate, it's also how did I acquire it. Okay, how did I acquire it? Who benefited from it? Did someone have to be exploited for you to prosper? And what responsibility accompanies your increase? What listen, increase, responsibility. You know it when you see it. And God is not condemning prosperity. This is a regulation of power. I told the Lord, me and my baby were on the phone yesterday, and I told her, because we were talking about apparently we have a new trillionaire in the economy. And I told the Lord this straight up. I say, Daddy, I know you're gonna make me wealthy, and I'm grateful. I don't think I need that much wealth. I just don't. And I can't say what that man ain't doing with his money, but I just don't think a trillionaire, a trillionaire. I hope like I don't I've never prayed for like that's not my prayer. I'm just be honest. Like, listen, Lord, thank you for the billionaire status. A trillionaire just ain't it because I just and some people would be like, oh no, it's me. It's me. Hey, that's cool. My baby even said it. She was like, I don't well, and I had to correct her. She was just like, I don't even need that. I just want to be comfortable. I say, well, I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that because I've learned to be comfortable at not a millionaire status. I hope that makes sense to somebody. But this is the Lord regulating power because, and y'all, crazy thing, well, I'm gonna talk about in a second. So this is the Lord giving us instructions about power, right? Because we know, yes, like we talked about yesterday, money changes people. When one person has resources and another is desperate, there's an imbalance of power. Now I'm finna say this. I was reading something on the other day. Was it yesterday? It might not have been. I don't even know what I was reading, but it was something where it was talking about how much money that our country spends to help other countries. And I'm all for that, right? I'm a military brat. Okay. I like my family, as we know, daughter, both dads, my son as well now. But this is one of the things that I have never understood. How we got so much help to give, but there's so many people here that need the help. Does that make sense? And I don't want that to sound selfish, but it's just like we ain't giving all the help we got to the people that's on in this country. Love the country, but I'd be like, how do we have these trillions of dollars to pour into other people's economies, but not helping the people here? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that was where my thought process went in this. I'm like, well, Lord, and who can say what the Lord does with his money, right? But there's so many people that need help here as well. So this is and this even on this part where it says it's an imbalance of power. So don't exploit people who have less than you. Thank y'all. Next, you finna have some increase in your life. The Lord finna put you in a position where you're gonna have increased wealth, right? Don't start looking down on folks and forget where you came from. You ever know somebody that ended up making it, or you know, they got a little money and then all of a sudden they start acting different. Now, I'm not going to say that you won't act different, but I'm talking about when they start treating people different. You know, something I've heard repeatedly, and just listening to different people, wealthy people, and just different experiences. Wealthy people treat the people, many, not all, they treat the people who serve them, um, so kindly. Like they're really nice to the people who they're gardeners and the people who are serving them in restaurants. Because just because you have money, that don't make you somebody. Does that make sense? Because that person is somebody too. Like, why would you treat somebody any type of way when they doing the job that God has given them. This why before again, but the Lord will show you, he'll see what that's character. And that's your character. And the Lord will develop that. It's like somebody give you a service. Why wouldn't you leave them a tip? Why wouldn't you bless them? Why would, because they're doing you a service. That ain't your job. Imagine you, it's like you going to work and give it, man, imagine you going to work, right? You have an hourly job, and then 1 hour you work and your job just decides they're not gonna pay you for that hour. How would you finna be flipping, or come on, Jesus, flipping over some tables? Like, oh, you got me messed up. You finna call HR, some payroll. Yeah, hey, where my money? The first thing. So why would you go and somebody else who has that job is there working and serving you, catering to you, bringing you, and then you feel like, well, I don't like them, so I'm not giving them. Man, you don't, what? Thank you, Lord. Lord ain't never put me in a position. He be knowing where I was actually, I never had to work like in, I didn't really do a lot of time. I think I had a job at like where I worked at Dairy Queen or something when I was a teenager. Cause so, who? Waitress? No, no. Cause it ain't for everybody. But sometimes people got to do what they got to do. Right? Just like, better example for my case, everybody ain't meant to be a nurse. Everybody ain't meant to be in healthcare. I said what I said. Most people, this is a true story.com. Most nurses are not in nursing because they love to be a nurse. They don't even like people for real. Most nurses these days, not everybody, most nurses these days in nursing, because nursing is like a prestigious kind of a career, and the money good, and mess around and start traveling and the money's better, right? I knew when I was a little girl that I was going to be a nurse. I knew it. I don't know how I knew it, but I knew it. And cause matter of fact, I know how, thanks, shut out. Hey, Pat, love you. I know how I decided I was going to be a nurse. My stepdad's sister, Pat, who's in the spirituals, she was a nurse. And when I was a little girl. So when we first met her, man, she had this nice house. Um, and she just had, and she stayed right over. I think she stayed. I don't even know what part of Pat. What, I don't even know. Remember where Pat house at? But she was in, is in Mobile. But she had this nice house, and I just was like, oh my gosh, this is the life I'm supposed to have. And so I knew then she used to put perms in me and my sister's hair, and I was like, I'm gonna be a nurse. And I was little bitty. I was like, I'm gonna be a nurse. And so sure enough, and at one point I thought I was gonna join the Navy, but I ended up becoming a nurse. And I did it because I saw her life and how gentle she was with me and my sister. And, you know, she was just a nice person all around. And so sure enough, I ended up becoming a nurse. And then the first almost 10 years of my career, y'all, I was a cancer nurse. I was on the oncology nurse. So I was a charge nurse at one of the local hospitals. And so that taught me a whole different level of compassion, because that definitely ain't for everybody. Okay. So, but it made me also know, like, yeah, I'm here for this. But it ain't for everybody. And so now, hey, D Mathis, good morning, Akila. Good morning, y'all. So everybody ain't built for every assignment. And some people gonna get into an assignment simply because the money look good, and they're not gonna care about the work that they're actually doing. But one of the things that the Lord teaches us is this: when he raised you up, don't forget about the people, and don't think you just have a right to start kicking people up, that are beneath you. I tell the Lord thank you for this all the time, and I think I told y'all this as well. Crazy how the Lord sometimes will put you in a position where You have to be the low man. Maybe it's just me that had to experience this. Has the Lord ever removed you from something and then he bring you back, but then he bring you back at the lowest level possible? I told y'all this story a couple weeks ago where before, because all I was a nurse, I didn't have any understanding of what the CNA and or the behavioral aid had to do. And I'm only speaking into into this season, right? But y'all know when before the Lord allowed me to be a nurse again, he first made me work at the level of the people who will be up under me so that I would have some understanding. Man, y'all, look, you shout out to my CNAs. Y'all the real MVPs. Shout out to my LPNs. Y'all the real MVPs. I don't even know if it's a whole lot of y'all left. But CNAs, you don't know. If you know, you know. Okay? Because baby, listen, look, why do people get into nursing? Because a lot of times you get more downtime than, depending on where you work, you get more downtime than people than you understand. But baby, that CNA, owe him to the Jesus, baby. What? Talking about work, especially if you showing up and doing what you supposed to do. Now, let me just keep it a buckles. I ain't talking to y'all CNAs who ain't doing the work. But for those of you who show up and you working and you know you taking care of your patients, first of all, I need y'all to go ahead and go back to school. Can we talk about that? I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and go back to school and get you some credentials, because why not? Okay. Second of all, y'all the real MVPs, because baby, listen at me, yeah. Working as a CNA. Now, mind you, my work ethic has always been what it's been. You gonna get the very best job that Touche can do. That's just it. That's always been me. I'm gonna do the very best that I can because that's who I am. Talking about some work. No, they don't pay them enough. And I mean that. That's nope, sure don't. They do not. And I stand on that. Man, maybe thank you, Lord. Look, I'm tracking, I'm listening. Cause baby, listen. So shout out to y'all that show up and really care about your patients and you take care of your patients. Shout out to the people that go show up and you come in and you may be a waitress or a server or something like that. And baby, you come in and give service with a smile and you may be crying because at the end of the day, maybe you ain't get the tips that you needed. I pray that would make you tip somebody a little better. Child, I'm ready to go out to eat. Now I don't need much go to restaurants very much. I'm ready to go out to eat just so I can tip somebody really good. Because I just can't even imagine. You got to deal with people's attitudes. You gonna catch it when the food ain't right, even though you ain't cook it. All you do is bring in the food. But the food ain't cooked the way you want it. The order's wrong. You ain't even do nothing but take the order and drop it off and say this what they want. This the order. Y'all treat this again. When the Lord start these are the kind of things the Lord will make you pay attention to before he gives you the wealth. You ain't got to believe me if you don't want to. How you gonna take care of how you gonna treat people before the Lord gives you money? Don't treat them as permanent slaves. Your circumstances don't cancel your identity. Remember, they God's people too. Okay. They're God's people too. We are still God's chosen people. Everybody. Okay. Everybody. Bye, Akila. Have a good day, dearest one. Who did I miss? Good morning, Tiff. Good morning, Mimi. I think I saw y'all tap in. Good morning, y'all. Poverty doesn't get the final word of who you are. Neither does debt or servitude. The kingdom has a restoration system. God refuses to let human systems have unlimited ownership. The land, the people belong to God. Wealth operates under God's authority. Pause. So, don't even know how this ended up coming into being, right? I have started, I'm reading a book. I just started the book on yesterday. I don't know what made me read the book, but I'm reading the book. It's called The Psychology of Money. Okay. The Psychology of Money. And I'm only I think I'm in chapter 4. I might have stopped at chapter 3, but I read about 3 or 4, either 3 or 4 chapters yesterday. But let me just tell y'all, I stopped and I have a note on this. So I'm going somewhere with this. Mm. So shout out to the author. I'm not going to pick the book up. Listen. So I'm reading the book, and again, I'm only so far in, so I don't know what's coming later. But from where I'm at right now, chapter 3 and or 4, what ifs, one of the things that the author was talking about was like luck versus risk. And let me just say this. I don't believe in luck necessarily. I believe in God. What you say? I said I believe in God because I am a believer that what God wants, God gets. And so as of right now, up to the point that I've read, I hadn't they were talking about luck being the reason that some people are successful. And I hadn't seen the faith in it yet. I hadn't seen God in it yet. And even when I was reading the book yesterday, I was just like, where the Lord at? You know, and I guess for me, because of my beliefs and who am I, I'm not trying to go against what somebody else believes. I believe that the Lord gives us the ability to create wealth. Period. I believe that the Lord gives money where he wants to give it. Is his money to do with what he wants to do with it. Um but I don't believe in luck. I believe that God helps us, he establishes us and we create opportunities. I hope that makes sense. You have to decide what works for you. But as for me, I believe in God. And I believe that if when you align with something that you want, God gives it to you. Anyway, power operates under God's authority. Wealth operates under God's authority. Even debt and economic hardship have boundaries. I didn't have time this morning to go and look, but y'all realize that even in our economy, and you can go redo the research on this. I learned part of it in American history lab over the summertime, but it's almost like there are certain systems even in our economy, y'all, where the economy takes a dip, huh? Because you may not think this is, even if the world is trying to operate under worldly systems, God is still in control. Can we drop that in the chat? God is still in control. So imagine the Lord saying that we need a reset and then we have a Great Depression. Do you start, maybe it's just because I look for the kingdom and everything. So even as I'm going through my courses and reading these studies and doing all these things, I'm looking for the kingdom and everything, honey. I'll be like, well, wait a minute. Why? Because maybe we needed a reset. And I'm not saying that it was all good, because it wasn't. It was difficult for the people at that time. But again, as I'm reading Leviticus, you start to see even in life, sometimes unfortunate, there have been resets programmed message into our economy. Same thing. We keep repeating the same cycles over and over and over. Man, I hope that makes sense to somebody. How does this lead to the Lord? Jesus in Jubilee. Jesus reads, first thing Jesus does, or one of the first things he does, and I think it was in the book of Luke, he starts reading from Isaiah 61 and 1, right? That's Jubilee language. He announces that the king has arrived. He announces restoration, and that restoration has entered the chat, period. That restoration has entered the world with him. He ultimately brings freedom, restoration, reconciliation, release, and return to God. However, message, you don't always get things back the same way. Kingdom restoration is sometimes a return or a replacement or a release, or realizing you don't need something anymore. That speaks to what Jared was saying. It's almost like sometimes the Lord will restore it, but maybe he's going to give it back a different way than what you thought it was going to come back as. It's not always God taking you backwards. Sometimes it means the thing that happened no longer has authority over what happens next. In this, he was speaking about the Jubilee year that's coming up. If you may be getting ready to go through a Jubilee year, a Jubilee time, a fresh blank slate, all the things. We talked about freshness on yesterday, and it's one of them moments where it's like you start to, it's almost like something has to, like the enemy having to let you go. Does that make sense? You ever felt like something, man, I in my own life I can see this, but I don't know where you are in your life. First of all, by the time I get to the age of 49, okay, I got a few years to go. By the time, let's say by the time I get to age 50, there are certain things that had a degree of authority over me. They ain't gonna have that authority anymore. It's almost like complete freedom. For some of you, you're getting ready to experience a complete freedom in your life. Something that was holding you, it's almost like something being held over your head. And you're gonna come to a point where it's no longer going to be over you. Okay. God is taking the control back. Your loss doesn't forever get forever ownership over your future. You don't. So going through after all of this, you don't have to work yourself into depletion to prove you're responsible. That's a lesson the Lord finna be teaching some of us. Baby, you ain't got to keep showing up and thinking you can't earn God's grace. Does that make sense? Like you ain't got to you ain't got to prove nothing to God. He already knows what you're capable of. Provision and obedience are connected. Okay, so everything we know, everything belongs to God. Kingdom wealth begins with stewardship, not possession. Prosperity carries responsibility. So again, we over here getting instructions to go into the promise, which is going to include provision. God is going, he's teaching you these things now so that when we get to up there, the first and second kings and all the, and baby, they gonna be wilding out. Okay, which side you gonna be on? The Lord is giving you the blueprint now to prepare you before the prosperity comes. God cares about how we treat people who have fewer resources or less power. A hard season doesn't redefine identity, and nothing temporary gets permanent ownership over what belongs to God, including you. Okay, including you. Let's get into the kingdom clarity for today. That's it. Oh, I didn't read the flow questions. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because the Lord has instructed me. I don't know. I might start posting these um as a daily, right? Or just adding them to, I don't know. But the Lord has been giving me, and because y'all know we use faith and flow, right? Focus, listen, obey, win. That's what that stands for. What has God entrusted to you in this season? Only you know. You need to sit down and faith and flow. We're already doing this. What has God blessed you with in this season? What has He given you to steward? What has He given you to manage? Where is God telling you to rest, release, restore, or trust? What are you holding on to tightly to that the Lord may be telling you need to let go of? What are you trying to control because you're afraid provision won't be there if you stop? And what would change if you believed your current circumstances are temporary? That's the flow questions. Let's get into the kingdom clarity for today and see what is coming up. Y'all like the live share the love. Baby, listen, some of y'all finna have some new rules. New rules, but it's gonna be kingdom rules. Okay. So right before I got ready, hold on, let me move my mouse, y'all. Right before I came on the show this morning, I was talking to the Lord about, life in general. You finna have some new rules. And these are gonna be standards that you gonna implement in your life. We've been talking about this week, the Lord been talking about non-negotiables. Now, many of you, the Lord is getting ready to increase your finances, right? It's a true story. You know, because you've been working towards this. You've been obedient, taking the steps, doing the things, whatever this is. First things first. Just because the Lord is increasing your finances does not mean that you need to go and spend every dollar that you get. Okay? Cool. But it also doesn't mean that you're not supposed to live a kingdom life. Okay? Message. Many of you gonna have to sit down with the Lord. I don't know what your kingdom rules are going to be. Okay? I don't know. But as for me, Over this past, I told y'all about a week or so, I've been sitting down and just saying, Lord, there's some things that when this season come in, it's going to be some non-negotiables. For some of you, it may be like, okay, it's going to be around your time, right? Because you're no longer chasing the bag. So you're attracting because you're not chasing. And so, yes, you're going to have additional monies. Okay. Good morning, Wop. Good morning, Callie. So it may be around your time. You're going to have a kingdom standard, a kingdom rule around your time. It may be about how you're going to take care of yourself. I sat down this morning, thank y'all, and I had to write some kingdom rules because there's some non-negotiables in this new season. Some people ain't gonna have access. Okay, access denied. You don't get the same level of access that you used to have. I'm not always available now. Nope, I don't want to talk. Nope, I ain't available. For some of you, let me also say, I don't know how the Lord gonna do it, but He gonna do it. Why? Because we prayed for it. He's also finna replenish your wardrobe. I know this sounds simple or sound like where that come from. Let me just tell anybody been through a struggle season and you realize that you still wearing, come on, the grave clothes. Come on, the grave clothes. Thank y'all. You might still be wearing the grave clothes. The Lord finna say, take them off. So this doesn't mean that you finna go and spend $1,000 on your wardrobe. But what the Lord explained to me this morning is that we are going to, because this is me as well. Y'all know honesty, right? Up until right now, even right now, every dollar has had somewhere to go. Okay. You got, and we should all be on this. This is stewardship 101. So we have had to do with our money what we had to do with our money, but there's increase coming. So part of what the Lord explained this morning is it's time for you to start sitting down and designing the life that you want to live. So for me, I say, Lord, I need some new clothes. I just told y'all about, or maybe I didn't. I just told y'all about the pair of sandals that I bought the other day when I got my pedicure because I was still wearing the same sandals, the same little slides that I was wearing in my struggle season, that I was wearing in the pit. And they were multi-purpose. They were my everyday shoes. They were my shower shoes. They were everything. But it triggered me into thinking about my clothes. And I don't know exactly where it's at, but there's a part in the Bible where when the Israelites are in the wilderness and the Lord's like, your clothes didn't wear out and blah blah blah, your feet didn't swell. And that was absolutely true. But this a different season. So I told the Lord this morning, I say, Lord, you're getting ready to increase my finances. My wardrobe is going to have to reflect the season that I'm in. So how do I know? Because the Lord say, go tell the people. For some of us, you may still be wearing the struggle season on you. Man, I hope that makes sense. And the Lord said, we finna let that go. Okay. Now, this may not be, again, that don't mean message. That don't mean that you're going to go and spend every dollar at one time, but it's may be a process of replenishment. Okay. Start looking at the things that are still associated with whether it's a mindset, but for many of us, the Lord was on more tangible things today that are still associated with your old message, with your old identity. Okay. And sit down in your journal. Okay. And write down your kingdom rules. Kingdom rules, it's not just about things, but it was a double play when I said it to the Lord this morning. These are standards that are governing how you're going to live and steward your new life. Okay. And this is also kingdom rules, is also the kingdom has authority over how you live anyway. Okay. Callie said, I just bought a few outfits while out shopping yesterday. I usually hold on to my money, but something said you deserve it. I spent more than I wanted to, but I'm trusting God to restore. Congratulations, honey Warning. Now let me say, and now listen, y'all, there's a true story. Hey man, I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. I'm not, but I know one thing, certain two things for sure. I'm not. This is also the Lord teaching us a lesson about depriving yourself, because sometimes that's where people, it's like, this is, and it may not, and it's not like you're gonna be out spending this every day or every time you get money. Maybe you need to budget some clothes into your once a month. Okay, I'm gonna buy me some new clothes. I'm gonna buy, again, stewardship. Okay, I'm gonna buy 3 outfits. If I buy 3 things, then I'm gonna release 3 things. I hope that makes sense to somebody. And so it's not even about me. And this is also, man, this is also a lesson that you're not gonna feel guilty about doing something for yourself in this season. Maybe it's just me. You ever beat yourself up? You be so quick to give to somebody else, but then when it's time to do something for you, you feel bad and feel guilty, and the first thing you tell yourself is, man, I really can't afford it. Soon as you want to do something for you, you ain't got it to do. But somebody come give and you be like, well, the Lord gonna bless me. Why are you putting yourself last instead of first? Message. Baby, I'm not finna do that no more. Because one thing I am is generous. I don't care about money, because just like Callie said, baby, I'm gonna restore. The Lord is gonna restore me, right? But I have also found myself being that same person where somebody needs something from me and I give it. But then when I need something, I be like, man, I ain't even going to be able to do it. Hence me still having the same clothes that same clothes, other than nursing, other than uniforms, because I had to buy scrubs, right? Other than scrubs, baby, listen. So we may, and you ain't got to join me in this if you don't want to, but I even told my angels, I say, oh, we activating today. Today, my mama birthday. I say, mama, she say, huh? I say, we need some new clothes. She said, you right. Cause I could tell, like, y'all, I be cute from the top up, but think I'm not in some, I lift my leg up. Think I ain't in a pair of tights and some compression socks up under this desk. Is now. But I said to self, I say, self needs some new tights. Why we ain't doing nothing for self, but you giving and giving and giving. That's why the Lord say you ain't got to work harder to prove you responsible. You also don't have to like try to make it seem like you ain't. The Lord know where your heart at. Y'all ready? Here we go. Look, I love the Lord. Can we just true story give God the glory real quick? Good morning, Shell. Good morning, Golden. Good morning, y'all. True story, give God the glory. Right direction. God be knowing. Find direction in life. Being on the right path. Your own star. Okay, babe, I'm trying to told you. Sometimes sometimes you do something and you don't even know if it's the right thing to be doing. But I be like, but I say nope. I sat down this morning before this live and started writing some kingdom rules. I say this is a non-negotiable. I literally said new clothes to replace the struggle season clothes. What? Man, why y'all think I went the other day? I went and got my toe pedicure, manicure, can't get acrylics. That's cool. I'm good with just how my nails look. Non-negotiable. Self-care is non-negotiable. Okay? You need to figure out what your rules gonna be. I didn't included kingdom travels. Every month I'm going to do something that is outside of, and this is something y'all need to implement. Every right now I can tell y'all that I have something to do every single month until December. Baby, I done bought, shout out, crazy y'all, I'm not playing. This month I'm going somewhere on Friday. More to come on that. I hope I'll be able to record it so y'all can see it. I'm going somewhere this Friday. Why? Because I deserve it. Because you remember, most of us been in a building season. You've been building, you've been stewarding, you've been going to school, you've been showing up, You've been doing so, you didn't give in all that you got to give. And then by the time you look up, life being passed you by. I told the Lord a couple months, about a month or so ago, I said, Dad, I feel like I'm in the prime of my life, baby. I done raised my children's. The hunted one tees is gone off living their respective lives. Okay. I say, I ain't got nobody, but touche, let's get a little life. And that's what the Lord, that's part of the kingdom rules. It's like, and this is the way that it's, we steward, we save, we prepare, we give, we live. Okay. Telling you, sometimes I'll be telling the Lord stuff, and then all of a sudden the Lord will come up and just clarification and be like, yeah, you're right. Because most of us, you got so many things that you're doing. You got business, you might be a mama, a daddy, you got school, you got work, you got so many things. This season, we gonna live a little bit. I done been through the seasons where I didn't have time to live. I ain't have nothing to do. I was like, I ain't never, it was never nothing for self. Man, look, message. Choose a good reputation over great riches. Being held in high esteem is better than silver or gold. This is Proverbs 22:1. A good reputation is priceless. Okay. So for some of you, this is good. That goes back to what we was talking about. Treat people right. Okay. You got to treat people right. And that on even the people that you don't like. You just be cordial. That's it. You can be cordial. You ain't got to pretend and be in nobody's face. Your reputation precedes you. Some of y'all may not even know that yet. You don't even understand why people treat you the way you do. They didn't heard something good about you. I hope that makes sense. Here we go. Oh, that look at the Lord's. Look at the Lord. It's king season. And when I say king, I mean men and women. Now, mind you, this is the strength card. We got Esther that's coming up. Big Leo energy, right? We have Esther that's coming up. Esther, of course, being the queen, the Jewish queen of Persia, in a central figure in the book of Esther, and is known for her bravery in saving her people. She was chosen to be queen after King Xerxes deposed his previous wife. She initially hid her Jewish identity, and when the king's advisor, hey man, you got this is a big responsibility. Come on, strength. You don't. Something the Lord has been explaining to me is you may not understand why you had to take these steps. But oh, when you get there, and it may not even be something that you was looking to do. God built you for it. Trying to told you, because what you may not even realize just what's attached to your destiny. What else, Lord? I got this number yesterday. 1515 is the next number to come out. Someone obsessing over you, mind control, and learning karmic lessons. Let me say this for somebody, baby. It's some folks right now that's wishing they would have treated you better. They couldn't see you, honey, and thank God that they didn't. Who said something about the Lord blocking something? Somebody blocked. Thank you, Lord, for what you blocked out of my life. OMG, because that's 15 energy, devil energy, right? Honey, sometimes you was baby, I'm talking about the whole blessing, and they ain't even know it. They ain't even know they was in the king's presence. My God, that's how some people looking right now. They can't do nothing but watch from the sidelines. But lesson learned. Lesson learned. Okay. What else? Then we finna clarity this. Here we go. Oh, telling y'all the thunderstorm. Matter of fact, y'all, the Lord was booming outside just yesterday. I'm talking about, and this is the lightning, thunderstorm, revelation, power, which we already talked about. This is an energy shift, opportunity to overcome. This can be a warning as well. We finna clarity it and see what's coming up. Man, somebody finna step into their power. Before this live, somebody sent me a reel, and it was this little girl. She was in her mama. I think her mama had just got done praying and worshiping, and then this little girl was in the. I think I reposted it on TikTok, and then the little girl was in there decreeing and declaring with power. She was a little bitty honey one and two, y'all. They didn't show, the mama didn't show her. But anyway, I don't know why that's important, but it's almost like, man, that girl knew from an early age the power of God. Some of you, man, thank y'all. Some of you, somebody finna see the enemy, the Lord power triumph over the enemy. I don't know exactly what that's going to be. We're going to clarity it and see what else is coming out. But the way this is coming up, it's on. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so listen. This is coming up in the center of the spread, right? This is coming up in the center of the message. So first things first, it's like the Lord has established you. He's establishing you as king and or queen, if you want to call yourself a queen. That's cool. But he's establishing you as authority, having the authority, having a power, having authority and power. Here come the enemy. Come on, Haman. Here come the enemy right here trying to discredit you in some way. Or it's almost like, man, it's almost like trying to undermine your power or some kind of way trying to just be, it's almost like trying to prevent you from accessing power, stepping into it, make you not accept it. But then here comes the Lord over here at the end, where it's just like you're getting ready to see the Lord triumph over the enemy. Let's clarity it and see what else is coming out. Let's talk about direction, being on the right path. Here we go. We have the waxing crescent moon, goal setting, planning. I told y'all, strengthening, intensifying, sprouting, rush of energy, positive energy, motivated to accomplish. So first, didn't we talked about goals on the other day? So if you didn't take some time, didn't we talk about, was it yesterday? You better start writing some things down. What do you want to see? What is it that what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to see God do in your life? What do you believe God for? And do you believe, it's almost like, man, love you, honey, bunny, but it's almost like the Lord giving you a simple instruction. And for whatever reason, that's how the enemy be winning. For whatever reason, it's like you're not doing this, and it's so simple. It almost feels like something as simple as writing the vision and making it plain. And it's almost like maybe you sit down to journal and then you get distracted. And then it's just like, okay, then I'll do it later. But then the later never happens. It's one of those things. Thank y'all. It's like the Lord trying to tell you, like, hey, sit down and start writing this down. It's like a simple instruction, and it feels like it can activate something to start manifesting and moving towards you. But that's the first part coming through on this. So you got to take action. And it's almost like and that's how you going to know, because it's a distraction. Every time you try to get going or start making progress, something comes in to try to keep you from moving, to taking a step or something like that. Be mindful of that, because it's the enemy trying to keep you. Again, we just got down here, or got the card down here that says some kind of way the enemy keeping you from doing what the Lord has told you to do. I don't know what that instruction is, but you'll know, because it's going to resonate with you. And it's something simple. It's not even something that's going to take a lot of time. It's just like whatever. And a mess, you didn't already recognize that you didn't been distracted from it, because it's almost like your spirit name's coming through saying you didn't already recognized it, but you keep allowing yourself to be distracted. So now it's not the enemy, it's you. Not to check me. If it's something, it's almost delaying a blessing. This is how you're creating a delay in a blessing that the Lord is trying to bring to you. I hope that makes sense for somebody. If the Lord has told you to do something and you've still been procrastinating, go ahead, get it done. Okay. What else, Lord? Because it's important, because we got to move forward, right? An inside job. Come on, the rainbow. Healing your money energy. Told y'all. Content with a little, content with a lot. Prosperity comes easy to me. He's trying to set us up for rest. Okay. He's trying to set us up for rest. So I don't know. And for some of you, it's almost like when you start writing these goals down, when you start moving towards whatever this is, it's actually, thank y'all, kingdom rules. It's going to start healing your money energy. For many of us, that's what we're experiencing, especially for Faith and Flow, right? You're healing your money energy. And for some of you, man, when did I have this talk with the Lord? It's why the Lord is having you to start writing some non-negotiables about the way that you're spending. I wasn't intending for this to be a money message, but I'm gonna tell you what the Spirit love. It's almost like you got increase coming, and we're not operating under Egypt's systems. We're not operating under the struggles, the survival rules anymore. And that's something I've had to talk to the Lord about a lot, because with increase, yes, comes responsibility, but it's like he's trying to break us out of this mindset, because he knows that you have been able to be content with little, and because you stewarded your little right, now he can bless you with more. I hope that makes sense. But this is the more comes with you receiving, and not just being on how did the Lord put this for me? It's like you being on, like, you deserve to. That's it. You deserve to. He knows that you're humble, and he knows that you're not chasing money and all of that. But remember that part of the reason you're going to receive it is because you're not chasing it, because you're allowing yourself to live life and not being scared to spend a dollar, because you're going to hear people telling you, oh, don't spend a thing, don't do nothing, just put your head down and work, 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 work. And I'm just a believer that that's a tactic of the enemy, because by the time sometimes you can miss out on so many things simply because you be so focused on, nope, I got to get this work done, nope, I can't, nope, I can't, that's not life. You get to receive as well. You get to live too. Be mindful, man. Be mindful of people telling you, who are already in a position where they can relax and receive because they didn't put in the work. But now them telling you that no, for 5 years, you shouldn't eat anything that cause you shouldn't eat out ever. Nope, you should, every dime that you get is supposed to go to saving. You what? Because I guarantee you, when they were going through their season, they still lived a little bit too. Now, I'm not saying be out of control with it. The Lord already knows. That's why it's not luck, it's the Lord. Because the Lord already knows you can steward well. I hope that makes sense. That everything on that, baby, you ain't got the, oh, thank you, Lord. Maybe it's one day a month. Do something like that for yourself. That's where I was going with that. Thank y'all. One day a month, I have something on, at least one thing on my calendar that I'm doing is for self. Kingdom rules. Hashtag drop that in the chat. Kingdom rules. Okay. Progress. Told you, didn't I say coming out the wilderness? We've been talking about this. The Lord is bringing us out of the desert. Okay. You ain't got to believe me if you don't want to. And guess what? Everybody ain't at this point. But some of y'all, this message going to resonate with you, because you gonna know that the Lord is bringing you out of the desert. Man, look, it seems like a long slog, but your efforts will pay off soon. Stay on course for at least a few more months before making a change. Move when the Lord tell you to move, because baby, we coming out the desert. Honey, we weren't never meant to stay there. It was temporary. What else, Lord? Thank y'all. Oh, I just got to chill. You know why else you finna get increase? Because God can trust you. Reputation. Some of you that's been, man, I just got to chill. Some of you, that's why you weren't able to come out. Can God trust you with more? Yeah, he has to establish that trust. He can give it to you. He has to know that when I give you this increase, you're going to do the right thing. And mind you, many of us, we ain't always been in a do the right thing season. That's just truth. Baby, the Lord got to be able to trust you with these resources now. Now listen, this is Romans 10 and 9. Didn't I say something about the grave clothes? Saving grace, he is risen, decree and declare, and resurrection. If you declare with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. I'm telling, man, some folks finna get, it's a reintroduction. Why? because the Lord is bringing you out. Telling you, that's why it seemed crazy when the Lord started making connections. He's like, we looking at the clothes, but he looking at the character. Because who the person that was in the grave ain't the same person that is coming out. I hope that makes sense to somebody. So the Lord has to be able to trust you with what he's giving you for where you're going. If he can't trust you, he can't give you more. So it's in the simple things. It's in the responsibility. It's in the, okay, let me make sure I take care and pay my bills. Let me make sure that I'm doing all the right things. Let me make sure that I got, yeah, I can do something for myself, but let me make sure that before I do something for myself, that all of my things, all the responsibilities are done, because we're not being irresponsible in this season. Okay, thank y'all. You have something to offer, an offer or proposal made to give and to receive. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. It's cool, but I'm telling you right now, you finna be on the receiving end of God's blessing, not man's blessing, God's blessing. Why? Trust. Okay. Why? Because you depend on God as your source. You're not, yes, you may have a job, but man, it ain't nothing like being on the receiving end. It ain't nothing like it. That reciprocity. And this is not it. The Lord maybe use somebody else as the vessel, but wait till you finna start, man, I wish y'all could see this the way that they're showing this to me. You finna finally be on the receiving end, because you've given, because you trusted out here in the desert, in the wilderness, when it wasn't nothing else. We just got done talking about there are times when the Lord will go back. He'll send you what seems like going backwards. He'll put you back in a manna season so that you can reestablish, because that's what, thank y'all, reestablish who your source is. Man, I hope that makes sense to somebody. When nothing grow, and some of us been in a season, we've been out here in the desert, didn't seem like nothing was growing, didn't seem like nothing was happening, and all of a sudden you finna start seeing growth. You finna start seeing progress. Man, look, we received this, Lord. What was dead, some of you, something you had to put on the back burner, coming back to life. This could be you, maybe you shaking back to self, something like that. Don't believe me if you don't want to. The cross. You done picked your cross up, carried it. This, look, sacrifice, down for the cause, release. This is in this particular deck for me, y'all. This is the Lord's card in this deck. Just trying to tell you, this is purpose driven, heeding the call. God called, you answered. Man, look, and that call, I'm talking about, get them on the main line, honey. I'm gonna need to keep them on the main line. Why? Because you did this. I told y'all the other day, I was reading in, I think, the book of Matthew. It's like, and the part that the Lord is bringing right now is when the Lord said, follow me. And some of us then did that, but you in a different part of the story now. I hope that makes sense. The Lord, and I explained this the other day, last week, so it bears repeating because he's bringing it back up. You're not at the follow me. Man, you're not at the follow me stage, although you're still following, right? You may be at the stage where you're learning from Jesus before he sends you out, which is what we've been talking about in Leviticus anyway. We know the old points to the new, but some of you are understanding that your time, thank y'all, your timeline has shifted. You are moving into a new season. So you have to have fresh revelation, fresh instructions for what's coming next. If the Lord is putting it, you didn't crown me, drop some crowns in the chat. He crowning you. He's preparing you to be king. And I don't mean replacing Jesus as king. I ain't talking about that. Same thing we were talking about with the money. We know that he is the king of kings. So what is he doing? He's preparing us for kingship. Man, I hope that makes sense to somebody. Kingship means that you're going to have people to steward over. You're going to have resources to steward over. You're going to have things under your control. This is everything he's been preparing us for, which why you got to have your integrity, your character, your morals, your ethics. All of those things got to be together. Message 143, because preparing us for something. I hope that makes sense. The crosses are out here twice, by the way. Funny, because when I was in the shower this morning, I was thinking about my son, and the last time we was on the phone, he had his cross on, right? He had his cross on, very much faith filled. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, man, God really got us covered, y'all. I hope we know that. Okay, here we go. I should have said it. Y'all said it, and I didn't say it out loud. Man, I should have said it. But anyway, I didn't, but I did hear it. And now I'm going to show y'all when they told it to me. This is Psalm 37:11. But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity. Of course. So let me just tell somebody. So when they gave me this card, they literally were showing me that we're getting ready to. They showed me this, that we're going from here to here, and I didn't say it out loud, and I should have. But it's like you getting ready to see the difference from where you were to where you're going. Right? You getting ready to move from this to this, and I should have said it, but I didn't. But I knew it was coming because the Lord said, "No, I got to show you where you're going. This is the land flowing. Come on, milk and honey. The land flowing with milk and honey, right?" So for many of you, it's like understanding that all these lessons that the Lord taught you back here has simply prepared you for the land that you're getting ready, the territory where He's establishing you, where He's getting ready to send you to have dominion over. That could, whatever that land is whatever your assignment is, right? But this is like the Lord confirming, like, yeah, you finna have some peace and prosperity in this place, okay, where we're going. We have a 3 of Cups that's coming in, and good people around you, because ain't nothing like good company, right? This is collaboration, celebration. This is kindred spirits. This is just being in good company. People, the Lord is getting ready to connect you with some folks that are just good people. You ever just be like, man, they good people for real. Like you finna get ready to have those types of people around you, even in this new land. People who are y'all. It's almost like cultivating each other. Thank y'all. Where it's reciprocal kind of energies. For many of you, the Lord is removing you from people who were constantly taking and allowing you to experience relationships with people who give as well. And thank y'all, man. One of the other parts of this is maybe you have been. That's a blessing. Maybe you have been the person that was always in need. And I don't mean this, man. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, right? Imagine being the person and other people knew it. Imagine, my God, imagine being the person who was always in need. Remember, we talked about this in Leviticus 25 as well. Maybe you weren't in a position. Maybe you weren't in a position to be the blessing. And now it's like the Lord getting ready to allow you to be the blessing. And it's not that anybody felt any type of way about helping you, but it's like the Lord, it's almost like something He's working on. Thank y'all. He's working on within you. Cause almost like not that you felt like a burden, but you ever need it's like the position you were in financially, right? Or maybe you had just enough, content with a little, content with a lot. Maybe you had just enough. So you really couldn't, let's say, partake in certain things, or you couldn't be the person that was really, and you may be a very generous person, but you just weren't able to do that. So you found people constantly blessing you because you were in a season where you needed that. First of all, the Lord finna bless the folks that blessed you. Let's establish that. Thank y'all. The Lord, the prophets, what you just said, a prophet's reward. The Lord finna bless the folks who blessed you, and they didn't even know it. They were just doing it because they were what? Good people. Now the Lord finna put you in a position where you can be a blessing too. Blessed to be a blessing. Thinking, and because you may have even felt some type of way because it seemed like you always needed help. And it's not, man, and I hope that don't sound bad, because it's not, it's sometimes you go through a season where you need help, right? But it's like you may have had this feeling, and it almost, thank y'all, it almost feels like you might have felt like, man, I'm tired of people having to help me. That may be something that you've had to struggle with, or you know what I'm saying? Like you just felt some type of way, which may have also kept you from asking people for help when you needed it, because you trying to figure it. You were just like, no, I'll just figure it out. Or you tired of feeling like a burden, the Lord's getting ready to release this from somebody where you're not going to, you've always depended on God, but you're not going to need as much help from outside people as you have before. I hope that makes sense. That's coming with the increase. Okay, what else? And it's almost like it's going to release your some kind of heartache or disappointment or something as well. I promise you, I knew this lady was going to show up on her birthday. Look at God. Look at the Lord. She said she was, but I ain't. Y'all had dropped a happy birthday in the chat for my mama. Look at the Lord. Look at my mama showing up. Child, I'm talking about showing up in your young girl energy too, girl. That's so crazy, y'all. The Lord told me that he was gonna show up like this in the message on today. Today is my mama's birthday. I told y'all that, man. You better talk about how your angels, once again, you ain't got to believe me, because the what I know, them angels. I told my mom, I said, girl, you back gonna show up and show out on the message today. And just if you know, don't come up here with no religiosity. In your spirituals, we not on that. We understand that angels sometimes go before us, right? So here come my mama coming up, strength card heavy, Leo energy, big purr, right? Here come the Lord, just like that, saying, yeah, I said what I said. Okay. Once again, when he show up and he mean what he say. When the Lord show up, he show up. Okay. So you ain't got to believe me. The king, come on, the king of kings, the king of kings, Lord of lords. I hope this makes sense to somebody. So this is you understanding your companion. Okay, who's teaching you kingship? Okay. Happy birthday, girl. What else, Lord? Here we go. We have the page of wands that's coming in. Messenger. This is good, a good omen, good news, exuberant, lots of energy. This is starting a new journey. So once again, it's like the Lord's preparing you. He's like, okay, I'm sending you into the land. I think you're ready. Maybe you don't feel like you're ready. You ready. And so the Lord's letting you know, like, hey, the time, not time is drawing nigh. Who says that? It's like, it's almost time to go. Are you ready? I can't answer that for you. Are you ready? Lord, don't send me till I'm ready, and don't give it to me until I'm ready. But for many of you, this may be some communication that's coming in. I know this is the page of wands and not the page of swords, but this may be like, it feels like an activation as well, where the Lord is letting you know, like, hey, it's time to roll out. Okay. Once again, we still, because we're remember, y'all, we're getting ready to close out Leviticus. We'll start Numbers on Monday because we got to finish Leviticus this week. We'll start Numbers, man, on Monday. But let me just say this before you go, you might get a little opposition. Okay. I don't know how this is going to come. This could be a mindset. This could be the enemy trying to sow a seed of doubt. Okay. Just know it's coming. Okay. Sometimes the work is resting. There is growth in stillness. Heard me and heard me well. The name of this message on today is rest and restoration are included. Let me say this. Thank y'all. Tactic 1. The enemy gonna make you think that you need to speed up, and God's gonna be telling you to slow down. The enemy gonna try to have you doing more when God has told you to do less. God has told you to release something, and the enemy gonna try to convince you to hold on to it. God has told you to rest, relax, and receive. We got inside job down here. The enemy gonna try to make you be on go, 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 go. I hope this makes sense to somebody. The enemy will try. It's almost like the opposite of what God is telling you to do. Be mindful of that. If your spirituals tell you to sit down, sit down. because the enemy gonna try to make you do the opposite. The Lord say rest, the enemy say run. The Lord say don't, the enemy say do it. Something like that. Now I don't know what this is, but keep running yourself in the ground. The Lord said, no, I don't need you to, I don't need your help. Okay. Tactic one. Sometimes the work is rest. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. If the Lord is sending you on a new assignment, rest needs to be a part of your schedule, non-negotiably. Okay? Because you're going to need the rest to do the work. And this is also the Lord saying that even in the stillness, Leviticus 25, when he say stop, that doesn't mean that provision is not going to come in the rest. He's going to make sure that you're provided for. Okay. What else, Lord? I don't know how else to say it, because somebody's in that mindset of, no, I got to go, go, go. And the Lord's like, no, that's not what we own. So he keeps on, and we ain't gonna keep talking about the Sabbath. Understand that. We've been in Leviticus for however long, and because remember, Exodus was all about the building. And now the Lord's like, okay, this is how you gonna live with me in the kingdom. I'm teaching you how to live here before I send you into there. I hope that makes sense. What else? Message. Sunflowers. Okay. Now, normally on one version of my Clarity Tarot deck, y'all know for me, sunflowers are the Lord. Okay. Access to greater prosperity is opening up for you slowly. You are growing as you learn more and keep expanding. Okay. Some of you, tactic two, thank y'all. Don't let the enemy make you question growth just because you don't see how everything is unfolding. Just because you don't immediately see it don't mean that it ain't happening. Okay. The growth is happening. The growth is happening, and you just need to continue to believe that, even if you can't see. Look, two flowers back to back. It's almost like for some of you being in bloom. We receive it. It's like being in bloom. Some of you are getting ready to actually have the understanding and be able to see exactly how something is unfolding. Maybe there has been a lack of clarity in it, but now you're getting ready to see exactly why something unfolded the way that it did. But just because you can't see all of the steps doesn't mean that the steps won't show up when you need them. The Lord will give you the step when you're ready for it. Graduation from a lesson. Which one more for this one? Another tactic. Sometimes that it's because you feel like you don't see growth. You think the Lord ain't moving or doing something, child. He working. He don't never stop, right? He's always working. We have a Four of Pentacles that's coming in, greed and control. We just got done. That's what that whole book is about that I'm reading, The Psychology of Money. Who you going to be when you get these resources? Ananias and Sapphira were a married couple who sold their land and intending to deceive the early Christian community, claimed to donate the full proceeds to the church while secretly keeping some for themselves. So again, message. The Lord is he's going to test your character. So for some of you, message. We talking about the tactics because we're getting ready to move on. Follow the Lord's instructions regarding the money. That's what I can. That's it. That's all. Follow the instructions. If the Lord bless you with some resources, I'm telling you, I hope this makes sense to somebody. It's like one last test. The Lord gonna test your character with the resources before the increase. I hope that's it. That's all. Okay. It because it's one of them situations where you may feel like you don't have enough, and the Lord has always made it enough. So be mindful of holding on to something. Because it's almost like, man, people there, it may not, thank y'all. Even if people don't know, God knows. And you praying for increase, and the Lord wants to give you increase. So be the same person, because it feels like going from unfolding to in bloom. This is like that last thing that the Lord is going to say, okay, let me just make sure that we in alignment, okay, before we move on. Okay. This message is heavy into. I want some. Please go read Leviticus 25 for yourself, because it's something in there for you, because this whole message is Leviticus 25. Character before increase, trust before increase, temptation before increase, doubt before increase, like the greed before increase. This whole message is given Leviticus 25. And not that it's not supposed to, because that's why we do this, but it's just like, okay, I'm getting ready to make you king. Message. Thank you, Lord, for blessings big and small. I'm getting ready to make you king. Okay. I'm getting ready to give you additional power and authority as well. Hope that makes sense. Here we go. Let's clarity the thunderstorm. We have walking away, withdrawing from a situation or person, leaving the past behind, learning to let go. I'm fin to be done. Cause I have time. I don't be fin. I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know what else. Sometimes the power is walking away from something that has not. It's like, let me just show. Where's the card at? Leaving this behind. Okay, identity shift, leaving this behind, leaving the old season behind, letting go of what has served its purpose. I hope that makes sense for somebody, baby. We leaving the what, and we also talked about this as well. What, and I think it was in the flow questions. What is the Lord asking you to release, let go of, before? Did I? Let me just see if how I wrote it, because I beat and got it all wrong, and I want to make sure I tell y'all the same thing twice. I might have to post these flow questions or something. Where is God telling me to rest, release, restore, or trust? Okay. I hope that makes sense to somebody. Um, it may be something, there's power in walking away, there's power in saying no as well. So, what is the Lord asking you to let go of? Some of us, we can just learn some lessons, and it's just a confirmation that, yeah, new season incoming. Okay. Archangel Raphael, God heals. This is the angel of healing, physical and emotional well being, receptivity, heart chakra, unconditional love as well. Man, look, different new angels, new seasons. Okay, I done told y'all this already. Some of your angels gonna stay with you, but many of us, we're getting ready to start receiving new wisdom from new angels that maybe we haven't experienced before. Why? Because you're gonna need new instructions. You're gonna need new help and a new. Lord is getting ready. Thank y'all. The Lord is getting ready to bring in the angels that you need, that will help you at this new level. You have to remain teachable. Every level that the Lord sends you into requires new instruction, and you don't know what you don't know. So be willing to accept the instructions that are coming in, and they don't always come from the place that you expected to come from. Excuse me. I ended up seeing something where even your enemies can teach you a lesson. And people don't want to hear that, but even your enemies can teach you a lesson, or people that you may not particularly care for. We love everybody with the love of the Lord, but baby, that don't mean I like you. I ain't got to like you. I can love you because Christ does, but I also don't have to deal with you. But even your enemies can teach you valuable lessons. So I hope that makes sense to somebody. This is where the Lord is, you know, that you're bigger than that. Sometimes you just got to deal with somebody so they can teach you something that you need to know. Sometimes they teach you to keep your mouth shut, or they test your character. Maybe you used to, I'm talking about pop off, cuss somebody out, and maybe they teach you that instead of doing that, you'd be like, no, I'm cool, instead of reacting or responding the way that you did before. I hope that makes sense to somebody. It's like, you don't let them trick you out your blessing. Mm, ain't got time for that. Okay. God heals. We just got done talking about healing your money energy as well. um some of you, this is also speaking to reconciliation. This is the last card, and we finna be out this thing, because I feel like the Lord has said what the Lord is going to say for today. We're gonna receive it though. First, we have Paul that's coming in. This is judgment. So this is like second chance energy, right? Paul the apostle was a Christian missionary and writer who spread the teachings of Jesus to the Gentiles. Of course, considered one of the most important figures in the apostolic age. We know that. So this is like second chance energy, and we got. I'm gone. That's it. I'm done. Thus says the Lord. Ain't that what the people say? Thus says the Lord. Last card is once again the Lord. Message. We receive it, Lord. The Son. He say, since I let your mom, not since he let you show up first. He say, let me show up. I heard you were looking for me. Right. Since he says, let me just show my face into place. Okay. Since my mama's on this particular card, him had meant it in him spirituals. Thus says the Lord. Okay. Just trying to tell somebody when the Lord show up that if you had just want to show up in the message, just say that. I don't really feel like I don't even know what else to say. The Lord say, okay, second chance, ready? You ready? Because he say, I hope you ready, because here we go. Okay. You ain't got to believe me if you don't want to. Y'all know I say that all the time. Why? Because some people, I can't make people believe, baby. I cannot. I can only come up and try to give you what the Lord give me. But when he show up, he show out. He meant what he said. He said what he said. Get ready for your second chance. Okay. Get ready for the second chance. Thank you, Lord. That's it. That's all. That's the message. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. That I wasn't expecting it, but when the Lord show up, I just be like, thank you, Lord. Can we just true story give God some glory? Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. That's all I got. I ain't even much got nothing else. Man, the Lord finna prove some stuff to somebody. I don't know. And it's not, and this ain't for you to be arrogant or cocky about it. This is simply for you to know that you know what the Lord had said. Okay. Like, you know what the Lord had said, and maybe it was some folks that didn't believe you, but I tell you, you don't have to make them believers. God is gonna make them a believer. We had that card the other day. Make me believe it. It ain't about me. You already know. It's some folks that's finna believe. They didn't believe before. Baby, they finna believe now. Believe that. Okay. I don't know what the Lord's finna get ready to do. Did I say something? When was that? I don't even know if it was this message or not, but it's something like, man, the Lord finna show. Oh man, I was like, the Lord finna show up. What did I end up saying? And he finna do something that is just gonna be like, man, divine intervention. That's it. Look at Habakkuk 2, 2, and 3. Telling y'all divine intervention. Told y'all, didn't I say something about go write some down? You better start writing down the life you want the Lord to give you. You start living it. Man, telling somebody. Go on ahead now. Look, make me order another Faith and Flow journal. I think I got one. I need to use that journal. I do. I'm gonna use it. Write the vision. Make it plain. Good morning, Miss Succulent. Write my answers plainly on tablets so that a runner can carry the correct message to others. This vision is for a future time. It deserves the end. It describes the end, and it will be fulfilled. If it seems slow and coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. Okay. That's it. That's all. That's the message. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. I told y'all I was excited about Leviticus 25. I ain't never been excited about, I don't think I done been excited about Leviticus at all, because it always felt like such a hard read for me. It's kind of the energy I have going into Numbers. But I tell you what, reading it through this time, reading with all new understanding, new eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to receive and understand, man, that's a whole new thing. It's different when the Lord starts showing you what the kingdom really supposed to be, or what the kingdom is, not even what it's supposed to be, what the kingdom is, and how you actually start to experience and live. Man, look, I ain't going back now. Y'all go be great, amazing, do great, amazing things. May the Lord bless you, bless the work of your hands, and may you prosper in everything you do on this day. I love y'all in real life. Y'all go hydrate your soul. Um, Message. Look at the look. Oh my God. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Can I tell y'all something? Y'all, let me make sure I ain't tripping. Y'all, y'all, let me just tell y'all something that happened. So this morning, man, I'm finna cry. This morning, I just told y'all today's my mama's birthday, right? And so I just told y'all, I told my mama this morning, I say, if hmm, God is good. So today my mama's birthday. Told y'all that. And I told y'all I was sitting here chopping it up with my mama, and I was like, girl, I was like, if I had the money, I was like, I'll go. I said, I don't have it, right? I don't have it to do. I said, but if I had the money, I was like, I would go to the casino and play $100 because that's what my mama liked to do when she was alive. And so I told y'all earlier, I said I can't do it this year because I don't have the money. I don't, right? I'm in a manna season right now. So I got a notification that say $100 in rewards. Then we had the right direction card, right? And this is not $100 cash, by the way. Okay. But this is just a note, a care. Listen, this one of them confirmations where I told the Lord this morning, I told my mama, I was like, man, when I was like, if I had it to do, that's what I would go do to celebrate you on this day. And she know that, and I don't gamble. So she know that that's like, look. And so even though this is not $100 cash, I just saw that come across my screen, and I say, ain't that something? Because I told her, I say, child, you give me $100, I'll go ahead and play it for you. She like, I don't even know if they still have it. This is how long ain't been to the casino. They used to have this game called Super Cherry. And she used to love this game, y'all. She used to love this game. And just so y'all know, like, I'm not making this up. I don't want it. It literally said it's $100 in rewards. And I just told my mama that. And so I said, that's why I told her, I said, next year I'm going to, I said, that's going to be the tradition that I set for her. And it's $100 limit. Cause what? Cause I ain't in that season. But it's stuff like that where the Lord will just show up and be like, yeah, she with me and she in good hands. Does that make sense? Maybe it's just for me. Maybe some people won't believe that. But I know the conversation that I had with my mama right before this live, and I'm sharing that with y'all because it literally be stuff like this where it's just like, man, the Lord really be listening. Cause who he really be listening. He really will let you know. It's in these moments, whether it's these cards, he really will show up. My mama been showing up for 3 days, y'all. Like, girl, you know, and it's these moments that let me know the Lord say, it's cool. Right. And look, I just see Amber J. Cool. It's just like, man, y'all, the Lord will show up and he'll do something to just let you know, like, yeah, you ain't crazy. You hear what you hear, you know what you know who you dealing with. Man, who he letting know your mama is in good hands. Your mama is exactly where you think she is. Maybe it's me, because I cried this morning, because even though I talk to my mama every single day and she talked back, it ain't nothing like having, man, you cherish your parents. Ain't nothing like having your mama on earth. Nothing. Cause baby, listen, cause so much of my life, my mom, I told y'all this. My mama died 2 days before my birthday. I was getting ready to turn 27. Okay. My mama died on the 24th of July. My birthday is on the 26th. So all this time, and we talked about this the other day, man, I don't know if somebody's grieving their mama or it's just a season where you miss her more than usual. Today my mama's birthday, so of course, you know what I'm saying, I'm a little more like, man, ma, because if it was her birthday, we would probably go to the casino if she was here, right? So it's one of those things where the Lord will allow your angels to communicate with you to let you know, like, we never left. That does that mean, so I grieve different, man, I grieve differently. Even though I know my mama's still here, it's different because she's not here. And there are times, and I told her this morning, and it's something that I don't even, it's a part of a movie, The Sixth Sense, right? Where at the end of the movie, the little boy is talking to his mama, and he's like, and he's saying, he's letting her know what the gift is. And she was like, "Do I make you proud?" And her mama responded and said, "Every day." And that's what I said to my mama this morning. And y'all had no way of knowing that. And that's one of my things. It's like, "Ma, I hope I make you proud. I know I messed up, but man, I hope I make you proud." And so for me, it's like one of those moments where the Lord confirms, right, that indeed your angels are around you. Um, and for those of you who are grieving your mama, she never left, right? She never left. That's it. That's all. That's the message. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. Um, but everybody don't have that understanding. I hope that makes sense to somebody, right? We were grieving our mother-in-law a couple of weeks ago on her birthday. Man, look, I'm telling you, man. And it could be a daddy as well. For me, it's my mama, because my dad is still alive, right? So for me, it's my mama, and I just be like, "Man, ma, like, man, and anytime it's certain things, and again, for her birthday, it's just like, man, ma, this what we would do. This your day. I was drinking coffee with her this morning. So for those of you, it's again, it's understanding. She never left, or he never left. Okay. That's it. That's all. Look, I wasn't in crime mode today, but anyway, look, it is what it is. I love y'all in real life. Y'all go be great, amazing, do great, amazing things. It's time to get to the next part of the work. I have economics work on today. My God in heaven. Help, somebody help. This is new for me, but I receive it because I feel like the Lord is teaching me economics through the Bible as well. So I'm grateful for that. I will see y'all on tomorrow, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank y'all so much for the likes, the shares, the comments, the subscribes, the love, the energy. I'm so truly, truly grateful. Y'all have a fantastic and an amazing day in purpose, on purpose. I'll see y'all tomorrow for Leviticus 26. We almost there, y'all. 2 more chapters. We